Hey guys, we are back with some more Wolfsburg Wolves franchise mode in NHL 19, and we choked hard in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Washington Capitals. We were up 3-1, and they came storming back with a 7-4 win, 1-0 win, 3-0 win. We got shut out in the last two games of the series. And I would like to blame part of this on our inexperience on defense. I feel like this team is right there. It's right there. We've been to the Stanley Cup Finals twice in the past 2 years, both times in the past 2 years. And I feel like that's not a coincidence, at that point, once you've been there twice in a row, especially, that this team's good. This team's a really good team. It's just, it's missing one or two good pieces. And I feel like one of those pieces is not Gustav Zhamnov. He was pretty decent in terms of his takeaways to giveaways in the playoffs. 11-8. He was very good in the playoffs, actually, for that matter. But otherwise, I'm not a fan of how he simulates. And he, not only that, he did that in only 13:03 of ice time per game, meaning he was on the top six the majority of the time, or he was just scratched. So and Zhamnov's contract is coming up this year. He's probably going to want around $4 or $5 million. I don't want to pay him $4 or $5 million to be a top six defenseman. If we're going to pay Zhamnov that kind of money, then I definitely want him to be a top four defenseman, and he's just not that. He's already an 83 overall. He hasn't shown much in the past two seasons, so we're going to be letting go of him. Well, we'll tender a qualifying offer to him, and then we'll treat him on July 1st. Now, guys who I do want to keep, everyone else on the defensive, well, not Calvin DeHaan. We're going to release Calvin DeHaan. I think it's time to move on from him. He's 34 years of age, dropping off a little bit. We need to save up some cap for this year because Todd Mayer, takeaway master Todd Mayer, his contract is up this year. He's going to want a lot. So we're going to be releasing DeHaan, and we're going to be trading Zhamnov. But other than that, defensive core is staying the same until at least preseason because we have so many young guys on the up and coming, and it's so hard to tell who's going to grow, who's not. So, and plus, I really want to give a chance to this guy, Tim Bohinski. 80 overall already in his first AHL season, and he has, take a look at this, 92 offensive awareness. That is insane, and I can't wait to see how this guy grows. I hope, honestly, that he ends up being like an 84 overall by the start of the next season. That would be tremendous. Yeah, obviously. So, but besides Zhamnov and DeHaan, no changes to the defensive core, at least in terms of who we're trading or releasing. Again, at least until preseason. So as far as forwards go, we're probably going to have to release Gino just because of his bottom six potential and the fact that he's an 85 overall. We'll see what his overall is during the re-sign stage when there is a jump that happens between now and the draft. So we'll see what it is then. But presuming that he's still an 85 overall, we're not going to be able to afford Gino. We're just not, because Mayer, Aho's got a contract coming up that he's going to want at least $3 million more. And again, Mayer's probably going to want at least $6-7 million. So I don't think we'll be able to afford Gino again if he stays at an 85, which he very well might, given the season that he had. He had 42 goals. I mean, this guy was insane for us, and in the playoffs as well. 15 goals in 23 games, and 14 of them came from the last 3 rounds, right? So, because he only had one, I'm pretty sure he only had 1 goal in the first round. So, presuming that Gino stays at an 85, which again, he very well may, we're going to have to release him because it's not in the cards anymore for Gino. He's getting up there in age. He's got that bottom six potential. I would like to keep him if we can, that being said, but we have other priorities besides Gino Malkin because he obviously isn't part of the distant future for this team. So in terms of forwards, that's it. And we'll probably have to end up releasing Blackwood because he's making $2.2 million. I want to save as much as possible for Todd Mayer and for Jorg Aho. Those two are first priorities. And Zhamnov, again, will be tendered a qualifying offer and traded in free agency. Now, two free agents, potential free agents, who I was looking at in the pending free agents screen, who I feel could fill a very much needed void on defense. In Hampus Lindholm, first and foremost, 88 overall. We don't know if that's a top 2. He might be a top 4. If we're signing Lindholm, then I would not go long-term with him. I would maybe go 2, maybe 3 years, because you could play him for 2 years, then trade him in the third year of his contract, or trade him whenever he starts to drop off. And the other guy, Hayden Fleury, 84 overall, 28 years of age. You could go long-term with him if you wanted. He provides points. He had 21 last year with Carolina, and the important thing is he hits, and that is kind of lacking on our defensive core at the moment. And same thing for Hampus Lindholm. We may as well take a look at him. And another thing about Lindholm, he's been in the playoffs every single year besides this year. Tampa actually missed this year, but every single year in the simulation so far, starting with 2018-2019, he has been in the playoffs again, other than last year. So he might be a good pickup for his experience, if nothing else. And there you go. That's really all I really want out of free agency, is a solid top 4 defenseman who is not named Gustav Jamnov, because he just doesn't fit in here. I'm not a fan of his simulation. So we are going to go on to the draft, because there's not much else to do. So yep, the Stanley Cup champions are, of course, the Washington Capitals, who beat us in a 3 game fashion, almost a reverse sweep in games 5, 6, and 7, and the Rochester Americans are the Calder Cup champions. So here we go. Time to start the year 7 offseason. It's a huge offseason for your Wolfsburg Wolves. Big expectations. We've made the Stanley Cup Finals twice in a row. Florida wins the lottery, and I'm expecting nothing less than the Stanley Cup next year. That's the last step for this team. It is the very last step for this team, because we've made it to the Cup Final twice. And the thing is about both of the times that we've been to the final, the first time we went up against the New York Islanders, who were just a much, much, much better team than we were on paper, especially with that top 6 that they had. I think it contained Barzal, Gaudreau, Mark Stone, some drafted guy that they had, as well as Sean Couturier, and one other guy that I'm forgetting, but they were a much, much better team. So they were expected to win, and they did in 5 games. However, in this past series, we had a 3-1 lead. We were the favorites to win this series. And they not only beat us, they almost reverse swept us. So we choked hard in that series. And it's just salty taste in my mouth from that series. So going into the draft here. But before we do the draft, we are going to take a look at the playoff stats, because we didn't do it in the last one, as we ended on game 7, I believe. So Jorg Aho with 22 points in 23 games. Gino with the absolutely phenomenal run. Aaron Zanetti with 16 points on the third line. This guy should be tremendous for us next season. 83 overall. So let's see what Gino is actually. He's still an 85. Yeah, I don't think there's any way we're going to be able to re-sign him. Aaron Zanetti, though, he's looking very, very promising. Especially after a 50-point season this past year in his second season, and of course, the 16-point playoff run in 23 games. Dennis Gurianov, 14 points, solid pickup at the trade deadline. Maddox Homer, 14 points. Wish he was doing a bit better. JT Miller with 12. He's still got his top 6 potential, so that's good. I was considering trading Miller, but given the success that he's had with our first line, I don't know if I want to do that. We'll see what he is come preseason, but since he's still got that top 6 potential, we're going to leave it alone until he starts dropping. I would prefer to keep Miller. Again, just given how well he works with this team. Braden Point with 12 points. Todd Mayer, takeaway master Todd Mayer with 12 points. Kuleshov with 12. Jones with 12. Pearson with 8. Stahlberg with 7. Furlan 6. Hintz with 6. Staples 4. Jamnov 3. DeHaan 2 goals. Nelson, Kondratek, Barney did not play. And again, we got very lucky with injuries. No injuries, actually, in those playoffs. Because, again, I turned down the injury sliders to 5 because, again, I just felt like they were happening way too often in the regular season. But, of course, they barely happen at all, if at all, in the playoffs. So, might have to fiddle with that a little bit before the regular season starts. Thatcher Demko with 5 shutouts and a .931 save percentage. He did just fine, of course, besides game number 5, which was just a disaster of a game, really. In the Stanley Cup Finals, 7-4 loss, I believe it was. So, yeah, there are the player stats for the playoffs. Let's take a look at the team stats, actually. I'm interested to see how we were on the power play and penalty kill, because we don't see those stats too often. Goals for per game, we were second in the playoffs, 2.87. Goals against per game, we were, looks like, yeah, tied for a three-way tie for second with Winnipeg and Washington. And then Detroit up there at 2.08. Let's see, power play. We were first in the NHL, actually, in power play goals and in power play percentage. So that didn't go wrong at all. Penalty kill, we're actually middle of the pack, 84.4%. I have a feeling that the penalty kill for all teams, though, gets much better in the playoffs, given that it's just, more of a defensive atmosphere. But nothing really fell apart in the playoffs until those last 3 games. So we'll check out the awards now. Stanley Cup, Washington Capitals. Oh my God, 2 years in a row. New York Islanders, then the Washington Capitals. It hurts to look at, man. All right, here we go. President's Trophy, yeah, Buffalo Sabres. They were pretty good. CLARENCES CAMPBELL, obviously 2 years in a row. Your Wolfsburg Wolves. And then 3 years in a row before that was the Dallas Stars. And yeah, Washington, New York. All right, so player awards. Art Ross goes to Cannons of Detroit. Hart Memorial goes to Luukkonen of the Buffalo Sabres, I would imagine. Norris Kuleshov with his second Norris trophy in 3 years. There you go. So we definitely got a good player out of that first year draft. The year 0 draft, if you want to call it that, because we hadn't simmed it a year at that point. He was our very first draft pick. So I'm so glad he's part of the team. Lady Byng goes to Bird of the Minnesota Wild. Calder goes to Gagliardi of the Buffalo Sabres. So not only did they have the Hart winner, but they also had the Rookie of the Year in Gagliardi. Conn Smythe goes to Evgeny Kuznetsov of the Capitals. Vezina, Luukkonen, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. He got the Hart. Jennings, Luukkonen for the second year in a row, and Vezina for the second year in a row as well, and third time in 4 years as well. So, Schneider right there as well, in between. Bill Masterton goes to Kapitanov of the Montreal Canadiens for a second year in a row. Selke goes to Nico Hischier for a third time in 4 years. Very nice. Ted Lindsay Award, Luukkonen got everything. And Maurice Richard, Jack Hughes for a 4th year in a row. So there you go. There are the awards. There's the playoff stats and everything. Let's get to the draft. Now, there is a certain player available. He's not... we don't even know his potential. Here's the thing. We don't know his potential. But he has a certain name that I'm kind of obligated to take at this point. Alvin Hensick. So, if we want to get Alvin Hensick, we'd have to move this pick up to somewhere in the 20s. Maybe we trade with New Jersey to get Alvin Hensick. I'm kind of... Because, again, just given the name's history on this channel, Reed Hensick, Trevor Hensick, we're kind of obligated to take any Hensick we see who's a good player. And it's not like, that not having a scouting report on him is going to hurt us, because he's in the first round. I highly doubt he's anything less than a medium top 6, especially with every prospect below him, or a lot of prospects below him, being a medium top 6 forward as well. So we'll see what happens, but we'll go pick by pick here. So the Florida Panthers, with the first overall selection, will take Antoine Moreau, 84 overall. What a pick. San Jose, Hartikainen, 79 overall sniper. Boston will take Juntunen, 82 overall playmaker. Dallas will take Ross, 79 overall center playmaker. Dallas again will take Valentenko, the power forward, 81 overall. So Dallas is reloading. St. Louis, Rocky, however that's pronounced, 78 overall playmaker. So pretty good picks here in the top 6. Columbus will take a 77 overall 2-2 medium top 4 defenseman. Islanders will take B. Oda, 77 overall playmaking center. The Arizona Coyotes will take a 73 overall grinder in Fitzgerald. Colorado will take Sauve, 65 overall two-way forward center. Tampa will take Hoyles, 64 overall defensive defenseman. Montreal will take Gogol, the 64 overall sniper. Detroit will take Diamante, the 74 overall defensive defenseman. Chicago will take Burrows, the 65 overall playmaker. The Carolina Hurricanes will take Prust, the 66 overall power forward. The New York Rangers will take Gruel, the 67 overall two-way forward. The Nashville Predators will take C. Curry, the 66 overall two-way forward. The Pittsburgh Penguins with pick 18 will take S. Sanford, the 65 overall defensive defenseman. Now, here's the thing. If we're to take Alvin Hensick, I think we could trade for one of these 3 picks. Though I'm not entirely sure what we would trade to get it is the problem. So obviously we have all these guys. I'm not trading any of these guys for the 19th overall pick to get a probably top 6 forward. It's just not happening. So surprisingly, Barney grew after barely even playing this year. Point, Mayer, Pearson, Zanetti, Staples is back up to an 80. That's good. Kundratech 81. Virtanen 80. He's on the last year of his deal, I believe. Guryanov, Albrecht, Zhamnov. We can't trade because he's got that 1 year left. Bohinski, I'm not trading. Gino, we can't trade. Stahlberg on the last year of his deal. Gianta. I mean, maybe Gianta, because we have a lot of defensemen. That's the thing. He's an offensive defenseman, 72 overall, offensive awareness. I mean, we don't really need Gianta. So if we were to give him to, say, the Devils, who are used to having Giantas, do they want to give up their draft pick? No, they don't. But it'll probably be a bit easier to get than Anaheim's. So we'll let Anaheim pick. Let's see who they take. They'll take Webb, the 62 overall medium elite defenseman. Alright, so does Winnipeg want to give up their pick? Yes. Okay, now do they want someone like Gianta is the question. I don't think so, just given that they want to give up, yeah, they want to give up the pick and they don't want the prospect. We might be able to make it work, though. We might be able to make it work. So I'm gonna hope the Devils don't take Hensick. Come on. All right, good. They didn't take Hensick. They took Malik. All right, here we go. So Winnipeg, they want to give up their pick. We'll see what we can offer them that they might be interested in. We can't trade Zhamnov. Can't trade Malkin. Can't trade DeHaan. I might be able to offer him Goligoski. Of course, they're not interested in him, but kind of add any value that we can there. And we'll give him Gianta, I guess. I mean, that Gianta alone actually might work. So we could go Gianta for a first. Proposed trade. Rejected. Alright, so we're going to have to include someone else in here. Guess we'll put Goligoski back on, see what that does. Proposed trade. Trade accepted. There you go. So now we can get our man in Alvin Hensick, confirmed draft selection. And we don't even know his potential yet because we didn't have him scouted. However, he's a 65 overall, so he may end up being something. As that forward who we traded and the defenseman who we traded were below a 60 overall. They were both in the 50s, I believe. So Alvin Hensick, hopefully he turns out to be something for us because that name is legendary on this channel. So now we will simulate up to our user pick. Pick 31, of course, as we made it to the finals. So there's Mateo McCormick here, sniper, A for shooting, B-, CCC. All right, let's see. Anybody else? Sereda, Nathaniel Sereda. Lavasseur is a goaltender. I don't know if I want to pick up a goaltender who's not an exact medium elite. He might be a medium elite, but I want to see who else is available here. Let's start by potential. There's Cummins, there's Knight. Yeah, I'd rather take Knight, but we'll take these guys later. They're going much later. 98, 193. I don't think I'm going to take Lavasseur with this pick. It's either McCormick or Sereda. And given the amount of defensive prospects we have, I think I'll take McCormick. Yeah, I don't think we have too many forward prospects at the moment, so Mateo McCormick, welcome to Wolfsburg, 64 overall, low elite, there you go. All right, going into round number 2, and we actually do have an early second rounder that we traded for. So now it might make a little bit more sense to take a shot at Pascal Levesser. 903 save percentage in 65 games for the Halifax Mooseheads, compared to Soretta, B, B minus, B minus, C minus, C, C minus. We already have a lot of defensive guys, as I said. So, and we only have what, one goaltender who has any kind of value. So we may as well take Pascal Levesser. We'll take a shot at him. 51 overall, but he might be a medium elite. So you never know. So now round number 3. I prefer not to skip on this guy because he's ranked 98th. We definitely have a late 4th rounder. So yeah, we're going to take Caden Cummins with our 3rd round pick that we got from Dallas, I believe it was. So sim to user pick. Yeah, 127th. I'm glad I took Cummins with that pick. So now as we sort by potential once more, there's still Knight available. No more medium elites beyond that. There's still some low elites here. Jaras and Goddard. Let's see who else. Eliniuk, Konowalchuk, and Raquel. So let's see this guy. Yeah, none of these guys are really close to being NHL ready. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to be anyway, but still, you gotta look for the guy who is most ready for the NHL. And now as we go back up here, let's take a look at Jaras and Goddard. If I were to pick any of these guys, I think I would take Roman Jaras first, the offensive defenseman, but he's going 246, so you could really pick up all these guys really late. The one who's supposed to go next, at least out of all these guys that we've seen, is Johan Raquel, because he's ranked at 134. We're at 127 right now. Where's Knight supposed to go? 193. Yeah, I think I'll take Raquel. I'll take Raquel, make pick, and that is, alright, 60 overall, 2A4, not too shabby. Now as we go into round number 5, 159, we're getting close to where Knight is supposed to go, so, I mean, he's technically supposed to go in the 6th round, or maybe even early 7th, but we'll take him right now just to make sure that we get him. There you go, Peyton Knight, 56 overall, but that medium elite potential. Now, as we go into round number 6, 191st overall, I think that's actually, he might have already been taken at that point, so I'm glad we took him with our previous pick. Jaras and Goddard are still available. I don't think any of those medium top 6 forwards are anymore. Yeah, they're gone. We have O'Sullivan here, starting goaltender. We don't really need any more goaltenders. We've chosen 2 of them already. We've taken 2 forwards, I believe, maybe if not 3. So I think I'll take Roman Jaras here. I remember wanting him over Goddard anyway, so we'll take him. And you know what? I think Goddard will still be here with this pick, so we may as well take him with this pick. Yeah, Goddard's there. We'll take him. Welcome to Wolfsburg. So welcome to Wolfsburg. Hensick, McCormick, Levasseur, Cummins, Raquel, Knight, Jaras, and Goddard. It feels so good to say that name again. Hensick. It's such a legendary name. Alright, here we go. Resign phase. Alright, so we'll start with our phase. And down here, Wolf, definitely got to resign him. He is the face of the franchise, as per the last name. Thornton, I don't think we have to re-sign him. I'll just release anyone who is holding back the development of all of our young guys. So all these guys here, Sodergran, Dudas, Addison, I might keep Salda. Kirk, I think we can release. I mean, he's had a pretty good run here, but he's not like tearing up the AHL, you know. He hits a lot for sure. But I feel like now that we've replenished our forward rookie group a little bit, I might qualify him. We'll see. Vertanen, Stahlberg, Zhamnov, Mayer, Aho. All right. So UFAs. As I said, I think we're going to release DeHaan. He doesn't want to re-sign. We need to save some cap. Even though we have $37 million, that will probably fill up pretty fast. So we're going to release him for right now. And Gino, yeah, he's still an 85. He wants 5 mil. I'll hold on to him for right now, but I don't think we'll be able to re-sign him. Nelson, I would like to re-sign if we can for cheap. 2.1, we'll see how much we have. Furland, how much does he want? 2.3. I'd rather sign Furland, obviously, than Nelson, because he's been part of our main roster for a bit now. But we'll see how much money we have after we sign guys like Aho and Mayer. Now, goaltenders, let's see. Benzing, we can release him. He was an original draft pick, but he hasn't shown much. Blackwood, we can release for right now. All right, now, Aho and Mayer. Let's see. Aho, oh boy, yeah, he wants 11 mil over 6 years. So, yeah, he's kind of worth it. He's a great captain. He is a great captain. Let's see how much he wants if we give him 8. He wants 12 mil. If we give him 7, he wants 11.4. Let's see how much we could go up to for 8 years. If I go maybe 11.75 for 8 years for Aho. I want to keep this guy as long as possible. He is the true face of this franchise. So yeah, let's see if that works. Now, Todd Mayer. 23 years of age, wants 7.3 for 8 years. May as well get him on the same length as Aho, but definitely not as much money. Because, you know, 11.75, that's a little much for Mayer. So we'll give Mayer 7 mil for 8 years. That sounds good for him. Zhamnov, we're going to qualify. Again, I'm not a big fan of his simulation. Stahlberg, let's see how much he wants. He wants 2 mil. That's pretty good. I'll give him 1.9 for 3 years. That's a good amount for him. Virtanen, we'll definitely resign as well. 3 years, 1.75 is what he wants. We'll give him 1.6. See what he thinks about that. And those are all the guys who I want to sign for right now. I want to simulate a day and see how much cap we have left, especially after signing Mayer and Aho. So let's see. Advanced day. Virtanen. Aho is back. Very nice. Mayer is back. Wolf is back. Stahlberg. There you go. Everyone has signed who we approached on day number 1. Let's see who we have left. So we have 16.66 left in cap space. Nice. So Zhamnov, again, we're not re-signing. We're going to trade him after we tender him. Kirk, Salda, and Addison. I'll release Addison and Salda. Again, just given how deep our defensive core is. We're not exactly sure. I'll release Kirk as well. May as well. So UFAs, Furland and Nelson will be able to re-sign. Because I still feel comfortable with this amount of cap going into free agency. Given that we only need a couple of pieces, you know. So I'll give Furland 1 year at 2.15. Nelson, we might be able to get a cheaper replacement player in free agency. But if he'll sign for like 1.9, then I'll do it. Alright, let's see what he thinks about that. Gino, I mean, is he really worth giving like 6 mil to? Because we're gonna have to overpay him a lot if we want him to stay, since he doesn't want to re-sign. The question is, will he want more in free agency than he wants now? You know what? It's probably best if we released him, because we could. I would imagine we'd be able to give him like 5.3, and he'll sign with us for that. So for right now, we are gonna release Gino. But we will definitely be going back after him on July 1st. So, but even if we don't, Gino has been by far, well, I wouldn't say by far, but he's definitely been one of our best players ever since we acquired him. I was just expecting him to be some depth as center depth when we acquired him to make a playoff push, and obviously we didn't make it that year. But ever since we made that trade for him, he has been one of our best players. So I really hope that we can get him back at a decent price. And let's see. Defense, UFAs were good. Goaltenders were good. Forwards, already offered Furland and Nelson. RFAs, none. Defense, Zhamnov, and goaltenders, none. All right, so all that's left, presuming Furland and Nelson sign, is to qualify Zhamnov. So let's see. Grabs, that's a scout. Furland rejected. Nelson rejected. Okay. So Nelson wasn't happy about his minutes, so I'll just release him because I could tell already that he's not having whatever we're going to give him. So we'll release you. Now, Furland, I wouldn't imagine he was angry with his minutes. I think it was just a matter of not enough salary. So we'll give him 2.25 for 1 year. That's fine. We have quite a bit to work with, and we don't really have to go after too much, as I said, in free agency. I would like to go after Gino, as I said, and either one of Fleury or Lindholm if they're available. So, yeah, that's really about it. All right, Furland accepted. Very nice. Let's get to the last day of the re-sign stage so we can tender a qualifying offer to Zhamnov, and then we will advance to free agency and see what is available. And again, hopefully Fleury, one of either Fleury or both of Fleury and Lindholm are available in free agency because we really need someone like that. And it showed in those last 3 games of the Stanley Cup Final. It really did. So here we go. Going to July 1st. Let's see what's on the market. So defensively, neither Fleury or Lindholm are available on the market. That sucks. So let's see. Our next best options are Sokolov, 25 years of age, 7 points. Does he hit? Kinda, but not enough for what I would want out of a defensive defenseman. Adam Larson, 32 years of age. He gets hits for sure. Rough takeaway to giveaway ratio. 17 points, minus 11. Man, that sucks that Fleury and Lindholm didn't go to free agency. We might have to make a trade for one of them if we can. Yeah, that's because those two were 2 guys who I was really gonna go after, but it doesn't seem like there's anyone in free agency who are like Fleury or Lindholm. And Lindholm, I believe, was on Tampa, right? And then Fleury, Carolina. So we'll try to make a trade with Tampa or Carolina here. See what we can do. Because I don't like what I see in free agency as far as defense goes. So let's see. What's Carolina looking like here? Falk, Pareko, Fleury, Slavin. What state are they in? Are they rebuilders? They're hopeful. What's their forward and goalie situations looking like? They need a goaltender. So we might be able to give him a goalie for Hayden Fleury. Because now that we have... Oh, yeah. There you go. Levasseur paid off. Because look at that value. Look at that value. So now, not only do we have Rodin and Demko, we have Knight and Levasseur to trade away. And I think I'm going to trade away Levasseur if we have to for either Lindholm or Fleury. Especially since Carolina looks like they need a prospect goaltender. So now as we take a look at their forward group, I mean, they have Necas, Svechnikov, Kozhanov, Kapitanov, all these Russians, or Russian-sounding names. Are they actually Russians? Let's see. Kapitanov is not, but it still sounds Russian, so. Teravainen. I mean, they have a solid forward group for sure. It's just a matter of how willing would they be to trade away Fleury? That's the question. Now, as we compare that to Tampa Bay and Lindholm, they're champion, but I don't know if I believe that, just given the fact that they missed the playoffs this year. I mean, they do have Kucherov. They still have Panarin, who looks like he's been pretty good for Tampa Bay. Good for him. I'm over Panarin. Stamkos is on the way down. Coyle, Gord. I mean, they got a pretty old core here. Other than Wozniewski. Yeah, pretty old core. And as well as Hedman and Lindholm are pretty old. At least in terms of, you know, they're not in their 20s anymore. Sergachev's 27. Goaltenders, they have Vasilevsky, who's 30. They have a goaltending prospect. So would they be interested in someone like Levasseur? No, they would not. They are interested in Rodin, but not in Levasseur or Knight. I'm not interested in trading Rodin right now. So, what do the Lightning want? Would they want some sort of... Yeah, we could trade them a defenseman here. And actually, Zhamnov might be the perfect one to go back the other way. considering they need some young defensemen over there. And we have a plethora of that. When you take a look at this, they have Hedman, Sergachev, Lindholm, who we're trying to acquire. That is a lot of value, though. And then Spencer, Alexiak, Turan, Stetcher, Bishop. Danielson's their best young defenseman, 65 overall. So if we give them Zhamnov and... Castles would probably have to be a asset going back the other way, too. And I wouldn't mind doing that, especially considering we have Barney. Warren Barney, who's effectively the same player. Defensive defenseman, left-handed. Is Castles left-handed as well? Yeah. They're effectively the same player. So it would have to be Zhamnov and Castles, I think, at the very least, going the other way if we were to get Lindholm. Alright, so we'll add them on there. I know they don't want Castles, but it does make sense when you think about it, because they have Hedman, who's 34, Lindholm, who they're trading away. Sergachev's 27, their goaltender, Vasilevsky's 30. They have a generally aging core other than Sergachev. So I think, yeah, they could definitely benefit from having Castles. So if we were to trade... So let's get Lindholm on there. I don't think that'll work. Just based off the fact they don't want to give up Lindholm. They don't want Castles. They only want Zhamnov. And Zhamnov alone is not enough value. So I think we'd have to include a forward in here. Maybe if we gave him someone like, well, someone who we just drafted. Maybe Goddard, who's only a 50 overall. Or we might be able to include a draft pick in there since we're a pretty good team now. And again, I don't think they necessarily need a prospect goaltender here, because you got Vasilevsky for at least a few more years. Then you got Pare here, who's, well, he is already 21, 63 overall. So maybe if you give him Levasseur as an 18-year-old, that might be an option. That's a lot of value going back the other way, though. So this would probably be the minimum package for Hampus Lindholm. So as we go back to Carolina, let's see what it would cost to trade for Fleury, which I would imagine isn't as much. Isn't nearly as much. Yeah, Fleury's well below half of the trade value of Hampus Lindholm. He was signed for 5 years. Oh, that's another thing. I forgot to check Lindholm's contract. Let's see what he is. How long did they sign him for? Lindholm, 4 years. I might be able to move that in the 3rd year of his contract. So I'm glad it wasn't for too long, like a 5 or 6 year contract. I definitely wouldn't have traded for him then, but we might be able to work around 4 years if we manage to get Hampus Lindholm. So going back to Carolina now. Fleury was signed for 5 years, but that isn't as big of a deal for him since he's only 28. Compared to Lindholm was 31. So if we got Fleury on there, do they want Zhamnov? No, they do not, but he would have to go the other way anyway, considering we were going to trade him regardless. They want Castles. Do they want... So the key thing is here that they want Castles, but I don't know if I want to give up Castles in this deal, just given that Fleury has a lot less value than Castles, and we could get Lindholm with Castles. So I think if you maybe put Goddard and Zhamnov in here, and maybe another prospect defenseman, that might honestly work. Another prospect defenseman who's not named Castles. We might be able to put Jaras in there, and that might work on its own. But I'm not going to make this trade now. I want you guys to chime in on this one, because this is an important decision. I feel like either one of Fleury or Lindholm would make a huge difference for this defensive core. Now, as we go back into free agency, I do want to see how much Gino wants. I'm not going to sign Dubois. That would mess with the chemistry of our team, I feel. Because, again, we've been to this Stanley Cup Finals for the past 2 years. We only need a couple of, just depth options. So Gino wants 5.3. 1 year. If I give you 5.6, I mean, we could afford it, for sure. We could also afford either of Lindholm or Fleury, and that would leave us with roughly like 2 or 3 million salary left over. So yeah, I think I want to re-sign Gino just because, again, he was such a solid performer for us last year, and I feel like he'll stay around 85 or 84 at the start of the season. So we'll give him 5.6 for 1 year. Really want to get Gino back. He was absolutely clutch. He fits into this team so well. So there you go. Gino offered. But now, it's up to you guys. Who do we go after? Fleury or Lindholm? Take into consideration what we'd have to give up for both of them. Taking into consideration each of their individual contracts and trade values and age. How they simulate. Well, I mean, they both simulate relatively the same. They would both be on our second line D pair on the left. They're both left-handed, I believe, anyway. I'm just going to double check on Fleury. I know Lindholm's a lefty. I'm just not entirely sure with Hayden Fleury, so let me double check that. But I am pretty sure that I saw that he was a lefty. Yeah, he's a lefty. Okay, so let me know on Fleury or Lindholm. And that'll be about it for this one. And I will see you guys in the next one when we potentially make a huge trade to boost our defensive core and maybe start year number 8. See you guys in the next one.